Following the Divine Liturgy took place a festive banquet celebrating the 30th anniversary of the enthronement of His Holiness Aram I, Catholicos of the Great House of Cilicia.
We're here today to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the enthronement of Vehepad Aram Arachin, the Catholicos of the Great House of Cilicia. And today it's a very important occasion. We get to hear Vehepad's message and we get to honor his dedicated service to the community. Vehepad has been here. This is his third year that he's come out here on a pontifical visit to the eastern United States prelacy, and we welcome him here. And you can see the outpouring of love and support for Vehepad in the events tonight, and we're very glad to have him. We hope that we'll see him in the future as well, and we're very lucky to have a leader, a church leader, who speaks to the people, who gives his message that the church is more than a building. It's a living church that's beyond the walls, catering to the needs of the people and listening to the people.
Leadership of our nation is important at any time, but to have had and to have a man of his character and his moral authority at this time is a remarkable blessing from God. And now more than ever, we need him and other leaders like him to lead this nation, to lead our nation, our Armenian nation, through perilous and difficult times. It's an exceptional honor. I mean, from a personal and community perspective, it's an exceptional honor to have Aram Catholicos with us.
It's a wonderful day today because His Holiness Aram I is with us. We celebrated the Divine Liturgy at St. Sarkis Church, the church where I serve as a pastor, and this was the first time that Aram Vehepad spoke a homily there, which was very inspiring, and I felt that there was a blessing that he brought with him. We are fortunate to have him as our spiritual leader, who has been serving our church for the past 30 years. He inspired so many of us, and we hope and we wish that his service will continue and more generations of young clergy will be inspired to follow his steps to serve the Armenian Apostolic Church.
Մեզ համար մեծ ուրախություն է այսօր մեր համայնքի անունով նշել Վեհապար Հայրաբեդի ընդրության եւ օծման 30-ամյակը։ Ինչպես Վեհապար Հայրաբեդը գսիրե ասել, սա ձեր անցյալին եւ ներկային իր այս ամբողջ դարիներու աշխատանքները գրնան ամփոփել մեկ բարի մեջ ծառայություն։ Բոլորս ալ մեր կյանքը նվիրած ենք եկեղեցվո, մեր ասկին, մեր հայրենիքին ծառայելու, մեր գարելին նելու, որպեսզի առավել եւս զարգացնենք եւ փառքավաճենք մեր կյանքը։
Այսօր մեծ ուրախությամբ, հոգեգան ցնծությամբ հավաքված ենք դոնախմբելու մեր սիրելի Հայրաբեդին, Ասկնդիր Հայրաբեդին, նորին սուրբոծություն դեր Արամ Արաչին, Վեհապար Կաթողիկոսի ընդրության եւ օծման 30-ամյակը մաղթելով սիրելի Վեհապարին քաջարողջ եւ երկար կյանք, ինչպես նաեւ բեղմնավոր ազգային մշակութային գրոնական գործունեություն.
Executive Council Member and MC of the evening, Richard Canarian, welcomed the audience with opening remarks.
It's my distinct honor and privilege to welcome you all to this joyous gathering as we celebrate the 30th anniversary of the enthronement of His Holiness Aram I, Catholicos of the Great House of Cilicia. 30 years ago, His Holiness ascended to the spiritual throne with a vision of unity, service, and renewal. In these 3 decades, He has shepherded our church and our people through times of challenge and transformation, always guided by faith, wisdom, and a deep love for the Armenian nation and the global Christian community. Tonight we gather not only to honor a milestone, but to express our gratitude for a life dedicated to spiritual leadership, education, and advocacy for justice and peace. His Holiness has been a beacon of strength, a voice for the voiceless, and an unwavering defender of our rich spiritual heritage.
Armenian and American national anthems were performed by Anush Barkley and Husher Pastikyan. Committee Chairperson Susan Chichen Erickson and Co-Chairperson Attorney Armen Morian took the podium and thanked the organizers for their tireless work.
I would like to thank Anushavan Surpasan, my co-chair Armen Morian, and all the members of the committee for their tireless dedication toward making this weekend's events most successful. Lastly, special thanks to Sophie for all the work and guidance, always keeping us on track.
Aram Hamparian, Executive Director of the Armenian National Committee of America, spoke about the importance of keeping Armenian Christian faith strong and fighting for the freedom of the nation.
Faith and freedom, the twin pillars of our nation. Our church, the very soul of our nation, the nation, the body of our church. The body of Christ among the Christian faithful, among the Armenian nation. 1 Corinthians 12:26 teaches us, whether one member suffer, all the members suffer with it. Or one member be honored, all the members rejoice with it. We have today, sadly, my friends, more than our share of suffering. More than our share of suffering. We are called to meet this suffering, to strive for the release of Armenian hostages held in Baku, for the return of Artsakh refugees driven from their homes, for an end to Azeri occupation of Armenian land, for the protection of Armenian Christian holy sites currently occupied, destroyed, desecrated by Azerbaijan. And in equal measure, my friends, we're called to protect the future of our church.
Anush Barkley performed Anush Garun by Daniel Gazarian, Tsiranitsar by Komitas, and Yerkir Inz Hamar by Alexander Harutyunyan. Very Reverend Father Artak Arabian, pastor of Holy Trinity Church of Worcester, Massachusetts, expressed his gratitude to His Holiness for 30 years of leadership.
Վեհապար հայր, լոկ բարերու ներտաշնությամբ ցերկով հյուսելու փորձը չէ, որ կգադարենք այստեղ։ Այլ Քրիստոսապույր ավետարանի լուսաջաջանչ տողերն արձականքելով կվգայենք, թե մշակն իր վարձքին արժանի է։ Հայրական ու հայրաբեդական իմաստություն արդացոլող խոհերու գողքին, Անտիլիասի ու Անտուլիասագանի ոգով շաղախված ծերպեղուն գործունեությունը արար աշխարի կվգայե, թե հայոց աշխարի դարածքին մեր նախնյաց արժանիքներն ու ավանդները շնորհիվ իրենց արժաննդիր կահագալին, դագավին խորք ու գշիր կբարդատրեն մեր թե ներգայի և թե աբակայի սերունդներուն։ Ձեր հայրաբեդական վաստագին տիմաց կխոնարին հոգիներն համակ և աչք ամենեցուն հայինիցեզ, հույսին ու շույլ ուղամդության խորուրդ իմը մակնածանքով։ Ձեր գաթողիկոսական կահագալության 30-ամյա հոպելյանին արիթով ահավասիկ, եկեղեցի ու ժողովուրդ դարձյալ գուկանք վերանորոգելու մեր ուխտը և երդվելու, արաքելավանդ մեր աթորին արասված ջախրանքին թև ու թրիչք դառնալու։ վեհապար դեր, հուսատիր աչքերով հայոց աշխարհն ցեզի գնայի այսօր նոր ուխտի ակնածանքով ու սպասումով։ Խրիմյան հայրիկի անգորնչելի ու անժամանակ խոհկերեն ներշնչված ու բարեպահված սևով խոնարհաբար գնձայեմ ծերդ սրբության այս աղոթաշունչ ողջույնը ու ողջերթը միևնույնադեն իբր վերանորոգ նվիրումի արտահայտություն։
Colonel Aram Sarafian, chairman of the Executive Council, addressed the audience.
It is with heartfelt reverence and deep gratitude that we welcome to our Eastern United States prelacy, His Holiness Aram I, Catholicos of the Holy See of Cilicia, a spiritual father whose wisdom, compassion, and steadfast leadership continue to inspire our people. Throughout his remarkable 30-year pontificate, His Holiness has encouraged our church to renew its mission and to stand as a living, vibrant presence in the world. A central theme that shines through Vehapar's messages is the reminder that the Armenian Church is far more than its sacred buildings and ancient stones. As His Holiness teaches, the Church is a living reality, rooted in the faith of its people and present wherever they live, work, struggle, and hope. It is a church that walks with its faithful, hears their needs, and brings the gospel into every aspect of daily life. His Holiness has often emphasized that the strength of our church is measured not in structures, but in service, witness, and the lived faith of our community. A living church, he reminds us, must reach outward, engaging the world with compassion, standing with the vulnerable, and speaking boldly for justice and human dignity.
He then invited His Holiness to read the invocation and cut the celebratory cake. Singer and songwriter Husher Pazdikian performed Jana Raks by Artemis Ayvazian and Martiki Yerkunke by Ashot Satyan. A video highlighting 30 years of service of His Holiness Catholicos Aram I touched on several aspects of his leadership, including his work in infrastructure expansion, youth and educational outreach, social and humanitarian services, and more. Bishop Nectarios, General Counselor of Greek Orthodox Archdiocese of America, and Cardinal Gabriel Giordana Cassia, Permanent Observer of the Vatican to the UN, made remarks highlighting His Holiness's leadership on a world stage and their personal friendship with him.
On this blessed occasion, which marks the 30th anniversary of the enthronement of Your Holiness as Catholicos of the Great House of Cilicia. This anniversary is not only a personal milestone, but a testament to a life of steadfast faith in our Lord Jesus Christ, a pastoral ministry marked by dynamic and visionary leadership, and a tireless commitment to fostering unity as a common witness of the Church. From the very beginning of your ministry, Your Holiness has embodied the prophetic dimension of ecclesial leadership, which speaks truth with courage, builds bridges rather than walls, nurtures the flame of hope alive amidst the challenges of our time, especially in the regional context of the Middle East and the Caucasus. Throughout this distinguished tenure, apart from being the cherished spiritual father of and moral compass for the Armenian people entrusted to the Catholicos of Cilicia, Your Holiness is also one of the foremost ecumenical leaders of the 21st century. With your decades of service in the World Council of Churches, including your terms as WCC President from 1991 to 2006, and from 2022 to the present, have left a profound and lasting legacy. Your Holiness continues to be a voice of conscience and conviction, guiding the ecumenical movement through moments of both transformation and reckoning with discernment and grace.
This invitation that gives me the opportunity to repeat 3 times the same word, and I will explain which is the word and why I repeat 3 times. First of all, I give you some numbers. Your Holiness, you would say if they are right. 57, 45, and 30. 57, I suppose, is your priesthood. 45, your bishopric. And 30, your being Catholicos. So you are a man of God, a man of prayer, a man who talk to God on behalf and together with your people. That's why, on behalf of every one of us, but especially your flock, we say to you, thank you, first. Second, as we have seen, you are not just a man of dialogue with God, but a man of dialogue with others. We have seen your leadership in the ecumenical enterprises. You are one of the founders of the Middle East Council of Churches. You are part and were moderator also of the World Council of Churches. Wonderful relations also with the Catholic Church. I remember when you hosted in Antellas the delegation of the Catholic Church and the dialogue with the Orthodox Oriental Churches. We have in our eyes, maybe also for you, when all the Armenian nation and church was present in St. Peter's 2015 with Pope Francis to commemorate and pray for Gregory of Narek and the centenary of your nation. And so, on behalf of this capacity to build bridges with everyone inside your church, but also with the diaspora, and by the way, Armenians are everywhere in the world. So, because of that, I would say another time, thank you. But I will add, if you allow me, a personal note. I had the fortune, or the privilege, or the grace to be in Lebanon for many years. And so we were very close. And I remember always was a real pleasure, the opportunity to go and meet with Your Holiness. You were always very welcoming, very kind. You spent time in spite of your many commitments, always ready to welcome, to talk together, to analyze the situation, to see what was possible. And in that sense, I suppose that what I felt is also felt by the many people who had the opportunity to talk to you personally, to know you from close, very close. And so, if you allow me, I will consider you a friend. And that's why I say thank you.
Karine Vartanyan performed Azgumen Kirin by Armen Tigranian and Main Her Marquis by Jonathan Strauss. His Eminence Archbishop Anushavan Tanelian, prelate of the Eastern Prelacy, addressed the audience with his words of gratitude.
Following in the footsteps of the psalmist St. David, who 2,000 years ago said, more than 2,000 actually, it's so lovely, it's so beautiful when brothers and sisters, they come together. And I will add something more. It's so beautiful and lovely when brothers and sisters, they come together in order to celebrate the 30th anniversary of their spiritual father, His Holiness Catholicos Aram I. A father, a charismatic father, a visionary father, a man who is indeed gracious, graceful, a man full of talents. And the more and more I add his attributes, I believe that we have to extend this event more than midnight. But here we are not to hear about His Holiness, to speak about His Holiness, but to hear, to enjoy His wisdom. Following in his footsteps since 1967, back in India, Bangalore, until recently, when I have met different spiritual leaders, I have witnessed, as already within the video witnessed, as well as the cardinal and bishop, they testimonied that how His Holiness is indeed full of grace, and everyone has indeed amazing his understanding, wisdom, and leadership. Last month, when I met the All Holiness Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew, and I conveyed to him His Holiness's congratulations when he was the recipient of Templeton Prize, I was amazed when the Patriarch said, "Please convey my greetings to His Holiness Catholicos Aram first, because since 80s, I have always amazed his leadership, his understanding, his wisdom. That's why Catholicos Aram the First, not only within the Armenian circle, but as well as it was mentioned, in ecumenical and even in interfaith circles, he has been highly praised. I wish that Lebanon was in peace. You know that how, over 50 years, this country, the wound of this country has never been healed. And still, His Holiness has turned Antalya, has turned Lebanon, a center, a cultural center, a religious center, a spiritual center, and he has priorities, which I like to focus on these few of them. His prime priorities are God, family, and nation. His priorities are education, youth, dialogue, and unity. And the more and more we come to acknowledge all these values, you will see that how he never jeopardized his principles at all. He is very flexible. He listens, he understands, but sometimes he never jeopardizes the values with self-interest. Aram վեապարը եթե ուզենք լավագույն ցևով նկարագրել այն օրինագելի երեսականն է եւ երեսական եւ աշխարհականին համար, որ սկզբունքի դեր է եւ այդ սկզբունքներն չի շեղիր 1999 թվականին Aram Կաթողիկոսը, որ 4 տարվա Կաթողիկոս օծված էր, հրավիրված էր, որ Էջմիածնի Կաթողիկոս ըլլա, քաղաքին Կաթողիկոսը վախճանում են ետքը, բայց իրեն համար շատ հստակ էր իր երդումը Կիլիկիո Կաթողիկոսության քահին հանդեպ եւ անոր համար ան արիթը դվավ ուրիշներուն, որբեսի բարձրանային այդ աթորը։ Կարելի է այնքան օրինակներ բերել ցույց տալու համար իր այդ սկզբունքը իքին ամեն զոհողության, որ ինչպես ասի բոլորիս համար օրինակելի է։ Ըլլան նախագահներ, ըլլան վարչապետներ, ըլլան թիվանակետներ եւ լիբանան կհաջախեն, որովհետեւ իմաստության լույսեն, շողեն օգտվին, այնպես ինչպես սուփիկի մեջ կգարտանք, արևելքի մեջ Սողոմոն իմաստունին համար կուքային հերավոր երգիրները լսելու իր իմաստությունը, չափազանցություն չէ ասել, որ այնքան բարձրաստիճան երեսարաններ, աշխարհականներ, քրիստոնյա, իսլամ, այ հավատքի ժողովուրդներ մոտեցած են վեապարին, որբեսի իր այդ իմաստութենեն, Աստուծո կողմէ դված իմաստութենեն օգտվին եւ ինչպես վեապարը միշտ կգտնե, ոչ թե իրանցին համար, այլ երեսվա համար, ժողովրդին համար, մարդկության համար։ His Holiness is open-minded Catholicos, and I don't like to go over all the decades I have witnessed. Just the most recent one I'd like to share with you. Can you guess, after he concluded his pontifical visit in California, where he visited? Where? Yes, you are representative of young generation. Yes? Silicon Valley, yes. In order to Christianize Silicon Valley, in order to bring the wisdom in church, but also to give a fair flavor on this technology. He is always ready and encourages youth, he encourages the seminarians, the clergy, always to update their knowledge to education, but also to be authentic witnesses of the gospel and to live a Christ-centered life. Վեապարներ, ինչպես իրեգսի թարցալ կգրկնեմ, Քրիստոսահիմն, արաքելաշավիր, լուսավորիչներու և շնորհալիներու սուպ աթորին պարծկացած որպես շնորհալի օձյալ հայրաբետ, այնպես ինչպես Սահակ Կաթողիկոս Կիլիկիայեն Անտիլիաս բերավ Կիլիկիո սուպ աթորը և ժողովուրդը, իսկ դուք 20-րդ դարին, 21-րդ դարու առաջնորդեցիք այդ նույն Խավայան Կաթողիկոսի հավատքի հույսի կավազանով եւ մենք կմաղթենք քաչ առողջություն, որբեսի մեր ժողովուրդը առավել եւս առաջնորդեք Աստուծո հավատքի լույսով, սիրով եւ ամենակարևորը մեր ժողովրդի ծառայության մեջ են թուք արժանի լակ Աստուծո փառքին եւ Աստուծո վարձատրության. Now I invite His Holiness in order to bring us and share his wisdom and his message.
The evening concluded with the message and benediction by His Holiness Aram I, Catholicos of the Holy See of Cilicia.
I would like to express my warm thanks and great appreciation to all those who have in different ways participated in this celebration and made this celebration an event, indeed an impact-making event in the life of our church and community in general, and in my personal life in particular. I started my spiritual journey in Canada. That was a long journey, full of rich experiences and challenges. I embarked on my journey in Montreal. Then I moved to Toronto. From Canada, I moved directly to Los Angeles. From Los Angeles, I visited several that used to be suburbs of Los Angeles. Today, they have become separate cities. Pasadena, Encino, Valley, Glendale, etc. Then from Los Angeles area, I went to Fresno, San Francisco, and as His Grace mentioned, we should not forget Silicon Valley. And from what you call West Coast, I traveled to East Coast, bridging West and East. And this time, New York was the center of my programs and visitations and meetings. As I said, I described this pontifical visit essentially as being one of a spiritual journey. During this journey, people, our people, was at the center of what I said, what I did, what I saw, what I noticed, what I experienced. We cannot do without people. The people is the source of our strength. The people is the field where we exist. What we do as a church is people-oriented service. The church, as I always underscore, is the people of God. the people of faith, particularly the Armenian Church. Again, I always remind our people that history, our centuries-old experience, reminds us that any line of demarcation between the church and the community does not exist and should not exist. This is, in my judgment, the uniqueness, the particularity of the Armenian Church. It's a superficial characterization of the Armenian Church when we say that our church is a national church. It's more than that. It's much profound, that interconnection that exists between the people and the church. In all aspects of our people's life, the church's life, we see these inseparable interconnectedness, conditioning each other, strengthening, determining whatever they are, whatever they do. During my visit to our community, I try to interact with the people. Not only I spoke, but also I listened. Speaking is always very easy, but listening carefully, it's very difficult. Often, even our leadership are not ready to listen, to discern the signs of the time, and to engage in dialogue with our people, as I did, particularly with our youth. We must take our youth seriously into consideration. We have to take our youth from the periphery of our life to the main page of our life. Not only speaking about the vital importance of our youth, but also facilitating, encouraging them, and by providing them ample space to be integral part of what we are, what we do, the challenges, the crises that we face in homeland and in diaspora situation. While visiting Canada, I proposed that let's together strengthen our church and community structures. That was the main theme of my messages. In West Coast, faith, faithfulness, and togetherness was the theme of my message. And here in the East Coast, my main line of message was, let's together strengthen our spiritual, moral, and national values in the life of our people. I'm sure you realize that always, you see, I use the word together. We cannot do anything, whoever or whatever we are, alone. We have to think together. We have to act together. We have to reflect together. when the necessity requires, we have to suffer together. That is the Christian way. That is Armenian Christian way. Wherever we are, as Armenian church and nation, we should be together. And in these three themes that I just mentioned, there is close interaction. In a sense, they consider or constitute, in a sense, one whole. How today, as church and nation, we can strengthen our togetherness by deepening our spiritual, moral, ethical, and national values, and articulate our togetherness in concrete ways. It goes without saying that at this critical juncture of our modern history, we are faced with tremendous challenges and deep crises of different nature and scope in Armenia and in diaspora. We are living in a different world. We cannot live anymore in isolation. We have to engage our church and people in a process of renewal and transformation. This is the challenge, the top challenge, the priority concern for our church and community. The anniversaries are wonderful occasion primarily for thanksgiving to God, who is the creator, the sustainer, and the guider of our life. Anniversaries are also a call to look backwards, to assess with a critical mind and in an objective way what we have done, our failures and also our achievements. But above all, anniversaries are challenged to look forward. And today we are called as a church and a nation in homeland and in diaspora to look forward with renewed efforts, with a strong faith and hope, and with a clear vision. As Catholicos said of Cilicia, I believe that as we try to open ourselves to new horizons, to broader spaces for further reflection and action, I believe that there are three top areas of priorities, and we need to look at priorities very seriously and responsibly. First, the reorganization of Armenian diaspora. As I said, we are living in a world which is in constant and radical change. We cannot ignore the emerging realities around us. We have to respond to what's happening in the world today as a church and nation and homeland. Therefore, the reorganization, in a broader sense, revitalization, reactivation, renewal of diaspora is a must. It's no more option. We cannot continue the way we are, with our frozen mentality, ossified thinking, dogmatic structures. We need to open ourselves. The church is not a museum. Our structures are not there to preserve what belongs to the past. We should become more and more relevant, reliable, and credible. That is the way to respond to the new realities of the world. 2, preparation of new human resources. Let me say that in Armenian also. Մենք մարդու բագաս ունենք, մարդու բագաս, խոսողներ շատ կան, մենք կորզողներու, պատասխանատուներու, հանցնարու մարդոց բագաս ունենք, ինչպես կսենք հաջող քլխակիր մարդու. We need the kind of people, committed, visionary people, who are ready to participate committedly, actively, responsibly, devotedly in the life of our church and the community. Therefore, formation of people, the young people, young expertise who can really provide new blood, new perspectives, new vision, new way of thinking and acting in the life of our church and community. And third, the Armenian church has always been the avant-garde of the Armenian cause, what we call high tats. Because we believe that human rights are God-given. Because justice, human dignity are at the heart of human rights, and they are God-given. The violation of human dignity, liberty, freedom, justice are sin. I repeat, they are sin against God. We cannot tolerate the violations of dignity, justice, human rights, and that is why the Armenian cause, which is the cause of justice, is an essential dimension of what we do as a church in general and the Holy See of Cilicia in particular. The Armenian cause is not one of the functions or aspects of what we do as a mission. No, it is an essential, I repeat, inseparable and vital part of the mission of the Holy See of Cilicia. Therefore, here are 3 priorities which I consider top, unchangeable, and essential fundamental priorities for our church and particularly for the Holy See of Cilicia. With this perception and with this vision, we will continue our struggle. The outreach, missionary outreach for a Christian is a combat. It's a combat. It's a struggle. That's not a mistake. We are one church, Echmiadzin and Antillas. We are one nation, homeland and diaspora. We have one history, one past, one present, and one future. with this profound faith and commitment, the Holy See of Cilicia will continue its mission. God bless you all.
In the very spirit of the psalmist, King and Prophet David, who almost 2,700 years ago said, "It's so lovely to see brothers and sisters together under the same roof." Today, I'm gratified seeing that brothers and sisters from Illinois, Massachusetts, Providence, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., all work together here at Garden City Hotel to celebrate the 30th anniversary of enthronement of Catholicos Aram I. It's very easy to talk about him for not only hours or days, but even months and months. Nevertheless, I like to condense my thoughts within few points. His Holiness is highly appreciated and praised not only within Armenian church, Armenian context, Armenian people, but as well as in World Council of Churches, interfaith, and different circles because of his wisdom, because of his leadership. Actually, last month, when I met All Holiness Universal Patriarch Bartholomew in New York, upon receiving his prize of the most valued comment, when I conveyed to him His Holiness Catholicos greetings, I was amazed, even I was humbled when I heard the Patriarch said, "I amaze Catholicos Aram first wisdom, understanding, and leadership." Indeed, it has been a true leadership throughout decades. And it is a pride to all of us as Armenians to see that how we have such a young, energetic, charismatic, visionary, spiritual father. His Holiness, I have followed him since '67 when I was a deacon, and I witnessed that how always people, they have amazed God-given talents, God-given grace, because he is indeed anchored and rooted, first of all, in Bible, and always he is a witness of Christian understanding and love and charity. He is a man of dialogue and unity. He is a man of always renewing himself. He always encourages the seminarians, the Vaktabets, to pursue high education, even to pursue the technology, but never to be the victims of technology, so that it can be a positive instrument in order to spread the Bible, the gospel, and values. The last but not least, I would like to say that he is a man of true leader, because he has met thousands and thousands of spiritual leaders, political leaders, who have come to Antelias, as I was saying in my works, as people from different nations, they used to come to hear the wisdom of Solomon. In the same way, I have witnessed that how Antelias has been a center of culture, a center of international values, and that's how today we are proud, we are blessed, we are privileged, we are honored to have such a spiritual leader. Աստված թողվոր մեր վեապար հայրաբեդին իմաստությունը առավել եւս բազմացնե, որբեսի եւ մեր սպյուրքի եւ Հայաստանի հայության տակնաբալից այս օրերուն գարենա իր ներդրում ունենալ մեր ժողովրդի հարաճտիմության իփաս Աստուծո եւ մեր ժողովրդի հարաճտիմության եւ զարգացման եւ բարության համար։